Welcome back to the Go series. This is video 5. This video is on arrays in Go. The first advanced data type that we'll be covering is the array. An array can be thought of as a collection of content living under one variable. So instead of having just one variable that has one specific value, you can assign multiple values to an array that you can even reference individually. Some important takeaways from learning arrays is that they are static in their size. So once you define the array length, you cannot change it. This means if you create an array to hold a certain amount of values, you cannot add more later. This has some benefit for optimization because the data type won't be resized, but if you need something more flexible that you can grow and shrink with, we'll be discussing a slice data type in future videos. Let's start off with creating an array. We will create an array of pets to easily understand the concept. It's similar to creating a variable, but you need to use brackets and specify how many available indexes that you will allow the array to contain, followed by the data type it's going to hold. We'll first start out with calling var. We'll name it pets. We're going to add the length, so we'll add the brackets and add the length of 5, and the data type of string. So great, we have our first array. Now, how do we actually print this to show the length of the array? So it's important, since I mentioned that arrays are static, we want to be able to print this and always know anytime how many spots we actually have for this. So we'll do format print line, we've seen before. We'll do length of the array. And we're just going to do the length function, so len. And we're going to do pets. We'll save that. Notice it imported format. Do go run main.go. Great. So we see the length of the array is 5 down here. Go ahead and clear this. So the next thing that we should look at is we've created this array, but how do we actually print the values out that are inside of it? So when we add the pets, how are we actually going to see these? Easy enough is we can do another print line. And we're going to print out the empty pets array. And all we have to do is print out the actual array. So we put the name of the array here and we go ahead and print this. And we should see not only the first part, which is the length, but we should see all of the values that are contained under that array. Right now, we don't have anything. So we have this empty array here. Next, we can add to the array by index. As I mentioned, Go indexes start at 0. So since we've set the length to 5, we have indexes 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So let's start by adding some of these pets into these indexes. We'll first add all 5 of the pets, and then we'll print out the values. So to add them, you reference the index. We have index 0 here on the pets array, and we'll add dog. Then we'll add cat on index 1. Bird on index 2. Rabbit on 3. And on the fourth and final, we'll have fish. Now I mentioned we'll use the same logic above. Do a format print line. And we'll do pets array. And we'll print out pets. This should print out the entire array. And as we see now, the pets array has dog, cat, bird, rabbit, and fish. So that's great, but what if you only want to print out one individual value? Well, arrays are great because, as I mentioned, you can actually reference one specific value. We're going to do another print line to illustrate this. So now, we know that we use the array of pets because we've already created that. That's what's actually storing our values. But how do we actually reference one individual thing? Let's take the example of rabbit. We see here that rabbit is the third index. So all we have to do is reference the third index here when we go to print it out. And if we go to print again, we see that rabbit was printed. We've obtained just one of those values in the collection of that array, just one index. Now that we've seen how to create an array and add data, we can also shorthand this to create and add data all at once in one command. Let's take dogs for an example. What we'll do is we'll create a dogs array, and we use the colon equals, similar to how you would for a variable for the shorthand. We're going to set this to 3 for the length. We're going to set this string because we're going to actually call dog breeds. We're going to do border collie, German shepherd, and Siberian husky. Some of my favorites. And if we want to print this out, same way we did above, but this is shorthand, so we'll do print line. Here's our array of dogs, and we'll go ahead and do dogs. And we go ahead and print that out again. And as you see, the array printed with our array of dogs, we have border collie, German shepherd, and Siberian husky. So this is just the basics of arrays. Later, we'll see a similar data type named struct, and that's similar in a way. As I mentioned, it has a little bit more flexibility. It doesn't actually require you to set the length, and it can auto grow depending on what you append to it. We've touched on our first advanced data type, and you may have had a question of how you actually print out each value in the array without the brackets around them, since printing the array includes those directly. A reference to print the index each time could be a hassle. As we've seen, you wouldn't want to go through each index of the array to print one individually over and over again. That would add up to a lot of code. Well, the next topic should cover this. We'll be looking at a concept called loops and how they allow you to repeat code to handle repetitive tasks like this. Please like and subscribe for more content, and I'll see you in another video.